a Muslim convert born in Vietnam, is appealing to the Supreme Court that he has been left stateless after losing British citizenship over alleged extremism offences. The man, identified only as B2, lost his citizenship in 2011. At the time, the Home Secretary Theresa May used nationality powers to withdraw his citizenship because of this alleged activity. The Home Secretary has long-standing powers to strip someone of their British nationality when the individual has another citizenship. Nathaniel Limmer-Sansom, The Report.
Well, to discuss that last story that we just heard, I'm joined by Cerie Bullivant, Media Officer at the advocacy group CAGE. Welcome, Cerie. How important is this case?
It's a hugely important case, especially for the Muslims in the UK. Many are first or second generation immigrants and either have or are entitled to other nationalities. So these test cases put a whole raft of our community at risk and at danger from arbitrary powers that don't have proper judicial oversight from the government.
But are they, the Supreme Court, looking at the whole issue of taking away somebody with dual nationality, or is it somebody who has no other nationality except British citizenship? Well,
this is the issue that's being contested here. The government say that they're allowed to take your passport if you're entitled to another citizenship. Normally, it's been the case that you have to have two passports at the time, and then they can take one away. So the difference being largely that in one case, obviously you have your second passport you have your second nationality to fall back on at that time. In the other case, you're left stateless for a period, and there's the presumption that you can get another nationality. However, this is twice already been thrown down by the Supreme Court. Once in the case of Abu Hamza, and once in the case of an Iraqi citizen who had his British citizenship removed, and then proved that he couldn't actually get an Iraqi citizenship either. So they had to reinstate his British citizenship.
But the idea that you can take away, if somebody genuinely has two citizenships and one is taken away, not the British but the other one, has that been accepted by the Supreme Court?
So far it has, but it's still fundamentally troubling. These powers are only being used on Muslims. So it's a further extension of racist policies which are used to criminalise and victimise Muslims and make us feel less British than the rest of society. We didn't go down this path with Irish Republicans, and we haven't gone down this path with other people from other nationalities. To the best of my knowledge, apart from in World War II, this has only been used on one non-Muslim woman who was a spy for Russia. All of the other cases have been against Muslims, and most of the times these are cases where the people are very vulnerable and at risk, and we're taking away often the only citizenship they've ever really known.
And does it follow that if their other citizenship is taken away, that they then have to leave the country, or can they still remain here?
Whether they have to leave the country or whether they can remain here is actually a grey issue at the moment. If they're stateless, then there's a question of where can they be deported to? Where could you send them to? Because no other country has an obligation to take them as well. The fact of the matter is, it largely seems that once you remove someone's nationality and you leave them in this very vulnerable position of being stateless, that they're forced to stay here anyway because they can't travel anywhere.
So if the idea is to get rid of these people, then it's counterproductive, it doesn't work.
The whole measure is counterproductive because all you're doing is, as I said, showing people yet another reason why the Muslim community are distrusted and have special rules and special legislation that only applies to them. This is only going to further create divisions at a time when we actually need to be working together. The government are always telling us to remember how British we are and to encourage our Britishness, but yet they hang this sword over our necks that, don't worry, we can take your passport away if we want to.
Well, on that note, we'll have to end it. Thank you very much, Cerie Bullivant.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for in this part of the programme. But stay with us for the second part, where we'll be seeing what you've been saying on Twitter and hearing about the crucial talks on Iran's nuclear future. Stay with us.